Hmm.
Okay, sorry about that. It's a little after 7 and time to begin our regular Baxter City Council meeting. And we welcome you. Roll call.
Cross. Cross.
Here.
Holman.
Yes.
Licio.
Here.
Babbitt.
Here.
And Olson.
Close, but I'm here. Thank you. This time I'd ask you to rise to recite the pledge to the flag with me, if you would. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with
Liberty and
Justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Administrator, any changes to the agenda?
There are none.
Okay. Public comments, were there any written public comments?
We received no comments.
All right, we'll move right on in then to the consent agenda. The following items are considered non-controversial by staff and are recommended to be read and passed in one motion. Any council person, staff, citizen, or meeting attendee can request one or more items be pulled from the consent agenda, and the item will be pulled and addressed immediately after the passage of the consent agenda. Otherwise, the following items will be passed in one motion. A, approve the city council minutes from June 2nd, 2020. B, approve the payment of bills and finance report. C, approve issuance of liquor licenses for the period of July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021. D, approve issuance of tobacco licenses for the period of July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021. E, appoint seasonal park attendant. F, adopt resolution 2020-038, approving a conditional use permit to allow forest land conversion, allowing for the relocation of an existing stormwater pond and expansion of an existing parking lot for property located at 14775 Edgewood Drive, requested by Thomas and Terry Getty, 21850 Tall Timbers Road, Nisswa, Minnesota. G, adopt resolution 2020-037, approving an interim use permit amendment to allow a tent with fireworks sales in the parking lot of Westside Liquor located at 15807 Audubon Way, requested by Jacob Quam, TNT Fireworks. H, accept utilities commission minutes from June 3rd, 2020. I, approve 2020 South Interceptor, North Forest View, and Forest View Stormwater Outlet partial pay estimate number 1. J, approve 2020 Fairview Road, Golf Course Drive, Excelsior Road, and Trail Connection, and 20 oh, my screen doesn't want to move. 2020 Oakwood Drive. Oh, I guess I can't move it. Of Excelsior Road and Trail Connection, 2020 Oakwood Drive Trail Connection Improvement Project, partial pay estimate number 2. K, approve 2019 mill and overlay and full depth reclamation improvements project and 2019 Memorywood Drive improvements project change order number 10. L, approve 2019 mill and overlay and full depth reclamation improvements project and 2019 Memorywood Drive improvements project partial pay estimate number 9. M, approve 2019 Mapleton Road, Jasperwood Drive, and Knollwood Drive area improvements project change order number 6. And approve 2019 Mapleton Road, Jasperwood Drive, and Knollwood Drive area improvements project partial pay estimate number 7. O, accept planning and zoning commission minutes from June 9th, 2020. P, approve the lawful gambling permit for the Ruffled Grouse Society Drumming Log Chapter to conduct a raffle on July 30th, 2020. Q, amend fee schedule for zoning fees and mobile/seasonal vending. For a motion to approve the consent.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, roll call.
Just a point of clarification, I think we lost Councilmember Cross. So in that context, I'm texting him to see if he's coming back. So as a participant, we need to make sure that we give him the opportunity to reconnect.
Okay,
So I apologize for the delay.
no problem.
It shows he's attempting to join.
There he is.
We have a motion and a second. Mark, any comments to that? Are you hearing us, Mark, or?
Doesn't sound like it. Well, I'll try and reach out to him on the phone.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Oops. All in favor, say aye. Roll call, I guess.
Just give me 1 second. I think he got dropped out again.
Yeah.
So Brad, are the rules that we can't take action if one of us is gone, or?
No, we have a quorum.
We have a quorum, but all participants, since he started, have to be able to hear and see everyone. If he can't get connected, I just need confirmation that he's not going to participate any longer. Well, it doesn't sound like he's answering his phone, so we'll proceed. Holman,
Yes.
Licio,
Yes.
Abbott,
Yes.
and Olson.
Yes. Okay, moving on, 8A, public hearing, an annual progress report on our stormwater MS4 permit. Who's running with that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I think Todd is pulling up the presentation for us. All right, thank you again. My name is Trevor Thompson. I'm an assistant city engineer. For those who don't know me, I'm going to be giving the presentation for our annual meeting for MS4 permit. There we go. So our annual meeting is held for MS4. It's an opportunity for the public to provide their input. It's an opportunity for us to engage with the public, provide some education, update them on our compliance with our permit, and just it's an opportunity that if it wasn't required, otherwise probably wouldn't take place. So that's what the reason for this meeting is. Go into a little more detail. Oh, it's working well for us earlier. Okay, so so this is really a team effort as far as MS4 permit. Trevor and myself are the two that kind of head the permit, make sure that we meet all the requirements, but it's really a team effort by the staff. Our public works guys are often our eyes. They're the ones that identify any problems that we might see, any illicit discharges. Todd updates our GIS system so we can have all information on our iPads when we're out and about. We work with the county, we work with the Soil and Water District, the MPCA, the police department if they see any stormwater concerns. It's really a whole team effort here on the city to make sure that we stay compliant with our permit and make sure we're protecting our public waters. So a little background, on our stormwater inventory, we have 5 lakes here within the city of Baxter, 256 stormwater ponds, 22 wetlands. These are where we discharge our storm sewer system into. We've got 85 miles of roads, and actually some of these roads with the curb and gutter are classified as our stormwater conveyance system. So wherever we have curb and gutter, the stormwater runs, and that's actually part of our conveyance system, which is our MS4 permit. We've got 1,621 storm drains and 158 culverts. All right. So there's 6 different minimum control measures, or MCMs, with our permit. This is what we report on. These are our requirements. Every year we have to answer about 50 questions with our annual report, and they come straight from these minimum control measures. The first one is public education and outreach. We meet this requirement by, we try to get at least 1 newsletter into the quarterly news articles. Kelly will post some stuff on Facebook for us. We send letters out to businesses, to residents as needed. Information is available at the city hall and on our city website to try to educate the public on our MS4 and on our stormwater system in general. The second minimum control measure is public participation. This falls underneath the second MCM. Additionally, we are required to make our permit available, our SWIP available. So that is uploaded on our website for anybody that wants to review our annual reporting documentation, the city SWIP. And additionally, with public participation, we do the leaf drop off site in the spring and the fall, and use oil and antifreeze. That's something that we do receive the feedback from the public that they are using, and the service that we provide. The third is illicit discharge detection and elimination. So anything that's natural stormwater or natural water, say from roofs, from rainwater from your roofs, groundwater from a sump pump, water from your sprinkler system, even if it's city water, is not an illicit discharge. That's what our storm sewer system is designed to handle. An illicit discharge would be, say, if we had a sanitary sewer service that was connected into our storm water system, or if we've got a contractor that's taking care of their chemicals on site, they have a spill, any petroleum spill over 5 gallons. An example of that would be our hydraulic or our back truck last fall blew a hydraulic hose on the side of 371. We cleaned that up. The guys did a great job making sure that it didn't get into the ditch. They used the shoulder material along with some quick dry from Napa. We got it all cleaned up, brought it to the county. That's an illicit discharge that we couldn't control. So they do happen, but it's just making sure that you've got the proper training in place, that you've got the proper protocol. We called the duty officer, reported it. It's been documented. So if you looked in our annual reporting of this year, which hasn't come out yet, but you'll see that we'll have an illicit discharge for that back truck. But something the council, I guess, maybe find helpful to know, as I mentioned before, the curb and gutter is technically a stormwater conveyance system. I talked with the MPC on this just to verify, but we have sent letters out to businesses in the past, and we've sent letters out to residents that are tracking sediment into our curb and gutter, or mowing their grass and blowing their clippings into the curb and gutter system. That is technically an illicit discharge. We do have to report that because that is our stormwater conveyance system, and it does go into our wetlands and our lakes, our public waters. So if you ever hear anything from the public as far as, we get a lot of feedback on how that seems a little ridiculous, but it is technically an illicit discharge. So we've tried to work on educating our businesses and educating our residents to try to keep ourselves compliant and prevent that from happening. So fourth minimum control measure is construction site stormwater runoff control. This actually begins during our review process. So when we get plans that come in for developments or any of our projects, we review the SWIP to make sure that the best management practices, what they're using is going to be adequate and protect our permit that we have with the MPCA for our MS4 permit, as well as protecting our streets. You can see in this instant, or in these pictures here, that top picture is a good example of a contractor who put down erosion control blanket, protecting the sediment from washing away. The bottom picture is an example where there should be some silt fence. It's kind of tough to see, but the soils aren't stabilized. I don't know if there's been 14 days or not to stabilize the soils, but they don't have any down gradient perimeter control. We complete monthly inspections as part of MCM number 4 as well. And we try to work with our contractors and work with the public on making sure that we are compliant and educating them so that if they're working in our community later on, or even any other community, that they're implementing the best management practices and that they protect our environment. The fifth is post-construction stormwater management, and this actually begins as well during the review process. We review the permanent stormwater 100-year designs that they've submitted. So if that's infiltration basins or wet ponds, making sure they've got 3-foot separation to model soils. Just making sure that whatever they're proposing is going to meet our ordinance and function properly. Additionally, all those stormwater maintenance agreements that you guys approve, that is one of our requirements from minimum control measure number 5. So that's the legal mechanism for the permanent BMPs. And the last is pollution prevention, good housekeeping for municipal operations. So here at the city, we sweep as early in the spring as we can to try to get all of the sand and salt that's been put on over the winter. Sweep multiple times throughout the year. As far as MCM, it's also our stormwater inventory, doing our inspections that we have to do on our ponds, any cleaning that we have to do. That would fall underneath this category. A couple pictures here. You can see the pond on the left has silt fence around it, protecting anything from washing into it. It's a good housekeeping. And picture on the right is a stormwater pond that's been cleaned due to sediment filling in over time. We have to go through and do our inspections, and every once in a while have to clean our stormwater ponds. So our current permit that we have was issued August 1st, 2018, or is effective August 1st, 2018. A new permit comes out about every 5 years. So we're expecting a new one to come out in 2023. Right now, we're currently following the 2013 general permit. That's where these MCMs come out of, these minimum control measures. We've been working on getting the new one implemented. Last fall or last summer, they were going through and providing feedback, asking for our feedback on their draft report. Just so the council knows, something coming down the road is we did meet with MPCA last winter, I believe it was, and we will more than likely have what's called TMDLs, total maximum daily loads, that will be monitored here in the future on future permits. Basically what that means is the Mississippi River flows over kind of some sediment that causes the river to be dirtier than maybe other sections of the river. So from Aiken County down to I believe it was the dam in Little Falls, the MPCA has identified this as an area where the total suspended solids are higher, And they're concerned that if they get too much higher, that we might have problems with fish spawn and other environmental impacts. It's just something that they try to monitor. It's nothing that we've done, but we will probably have some low limits in the future, which will mean more time spent on our behalf. It'll mean more involvement and ultimately probably a little bit more cost associated with the permit. So with that, if there's any questions anybody has, be happy to answer. If anybody's got any kind of suggestions, any feedback, they want any of this information to be sent to them if they can't find it, please reach out to us. We're more than happy to discuss what we're currently doing. Anything that you think we could do better, we'd be more than happy to sit down and listen. And ultimately, we just want to make sure that we keep these lakes and rivers clean in our area. And this is why a lot of us live here. So,
Any questions or comments for Kevin? Brad, do we know if anybody's online listening to this?
We just have one column, which I believe is the Globe. But otherwise, I believe everybody else on YouTube is listening to this or watching this with a 30-second delay. Our notification did go out and ask that anybody had any comments to submit those in writing prior to the meeting. We did not have any, so.
Okay, if there's no questions or comments from the council, we'll move forward to 8B, consideration of operational changes in response to the governor's executive.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, Council. This is the time of the month that we talk about our operations under the pandemic.
You're kind of cutting in and out there.
There's some background noise that I keep on hearing, but anyway, it's that time of the month in regards to consideration for operations. Operations regarding to COVID-19. At the last meeting, or the meeting in May, we talked about social gatherings, and at that point in time, the council made decisions to not take any action regarding having in-person meetings. Made the decision to continue to cancel the park pavilion rentals and to hold off on making any decision on our rec program. Included in your packet is a memo that from Friday afternoon that I had sent outlining those 3 items with the governor's adoption of Executive Order 20-74 on, I believe that was June 5th. Commencing on June 10th, the governor has identified phase 3 in his Stay Safe Minnesota plan. With that, group gatherings are up from 10 maximum to 25 individuals. With that, when we met in May, the council had indicated that they weren't comfortable in opening up our park rentals, our pavilion rentals, nor assuming or resuming city meetings, as not wanting to encourage large gatherings. In the memo, I do identify that with the social distancing guidelines outlined by MDH and CDC, our city council chambers can hold up to 24 persons. That does include the elected body and city staff. Historically, attendance at meetings have been 25 or less unless we do have a public hearing on a controversial topic. With that, we do have some recommendations if the council was interested in going back into in-person meetings that we would do if we would proceed with if we do move back to in-person meetings. Should council want to do in-person meetings, we're indicating that a good date to commence that would be July 1st. In regards to the park pavilion rentals, back in May, we identified that 10 was just not large enough. And in doing so, or allowing for pavilion rentals at that time, would it be encouraging larger gatherings? I'm here tonight to ask the council if the moving of the dial, as the governor calls it, to 25 persons, if the council would be comfortable in regards to, or would want to proceed with lifting the suspension of those park rentals. If you're not, we do have 6 rentals that are scheduled for July that were reserved or registered prior to the local emergency. We would need action taken on those. And then lastly, our rec program, summer rec program. As you know, this is a topic that we've talked about almost every meeting since COVID, or since the stay-at-home order in late March. With the executive order 2074, it does move the dial in regards to some sports programming. However, the moving of the dial hasn't gotten it back to playing games or being in competitive tournaments or things of that nature. What the dial, or what the governor's actions have resulted is allowing for practices to resume, provided that they're done to certain guidelines that are outlined by MDH. I included a copy of those guidelines in your packet. Corey Reynolds, the school district 181, and myself have reviewed the guidelines in detail and have concluded that the prohibition of games means that we are unable to provide the programs that families and children have signed up for. In addition, the guidelines do require additional resources and expenditures that are beyond expected revenue or the capacity of staff. Therefore, we did talk about it at the Joint Parks Committee meeting yesterday, and we are recommending the official cancellation of the summer program. If the social dial or the dial that I referred to turns even further that allows for gameplay, the school district staff is prepared to offer what they're referring to as dollar ball program. I call it more of a sandlot pickup game type of formality with some supervision of volunteers to make sure that social distancing guidelines are adhered to. The school district would rely on volunteer coaches to, like I indicated, oversee games, and would be able to do that in a short period of time to provide some alternative programming whenever, I should say, whenever or if the dial is turned to allow for that. In an affiliated but separate matter, we have had conversations with the representatives of the Youth Baseball Association and the Youth Soccer Association about their use, their ability to use our soccer fields. We have talked with them and have drafted temporary use agreements that are included in your packet. We are asking that the council approve those use agreements. So I'm open for discussion, and at the conclusion of our discussion, I'm asking that the council make a determination as to resuming in-person meetings, make a determination on our park rentals for the month of July, and determination of our rec programming. With that, I'll turn it over to the council for any questions.
We'll take them one at a time, I'm assuming. Let's start with the meetings going back to the building. Council comments or questions about that? Nobody has a permit. Mark? Mute.
Mark, you're on mute. Mark, you're on mute.
There we go.
He's got her.
I'm working on my phone right now, so
Okay.
I lost my internet service at the moment. I guess my only concern with going back in July is if we're down to 25 people, including staff and council, how many people does that really allow from the public to be in the meeting or even watch the meeting? Are we getting more participation by having it on YouTube as opposed to, what do we have? At least 12. So half of that 25 would be taken up by staff and council. Just comment to think about.
Okay, thank you. Todd, you had your hand up.
Your Honor, Council, I was just gonna say I'm not averse to meeting back in the building, but I'm fine, continuing this way too. This works well.
I guess I agree with what Todd says. Selfishly, I'd like to meet in person, like I said last time, because I miss you, but this is certainly working fine too. So I can go either way.
I'd echo a lot of those comments, but I'd be curious. I don't know if we have a stat on how many people are viewing this through YouTube. It'd be interesting to know if we're actually getting more public, not necessarily participation, but obviously viewership than we would with, say, 30 people in the city council chambers. So I'm good with staying remote, unless we find a reason that being back in the building is in fact better.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the context of viewership, I did have Todd DeBoer, our IT director, look at that. And Todd, would you provide a quick summary?
Yeah, most nights it averages maybe 2 to 3 people watching live. I think the peak was 6 or 8 at any one time. I don't dig into that deep, but there's some views after the fact. But live, I'd say like tonight, it looks like there's 2 or something. So it's pretty minimal for the last few weeks.
I think that, just based on history and the amount of attendance we've had in the past, I think that's kind of a non-issue. I think we've also looked at, for those evenings that we know there would be a crowd, we've reached out to some other entities that would host us in houses if we're anticipating a bigger number. So I don't know that that's, in my opinion anyway, that's necessarily the turning point. The question is, like if we're comfortable doing what we're doing, so be it. Brad and staff, is there an advantage for you people for us to be in the building at all or not?
No, I think it's a comfort level. Obviously, as everyone else has indicated, meeting face to face and doing that is part of the equation. But in the context, we do have additional people who are in attendance that normally wouldn't. Think of Todd DeBoer as one who's been attending the meetings since we've gone through it. But I think in the context, we were looking at it as an opportunity to get back to a norm, albeit a modified one, where it would be the elected officials, Kelly, myself, city attorney, and then department heads who did have items on the agenda, where we typically have all in attendance when it's typically in person. So I have no objection if that's the direction that council wants to continue to move forward. We'll do that, and we'll have it as a discussion item in the future. We'll wait to see what the next turning of the dial is, and if that dial turns up a little bit more, then we'll entertain the conversation again.
Your Honor, Council, all I would add to this is there's no way to predict in any given meeting what agenda items will trigger, a lot of deliberation or conversation. And, from my own perspective, If we're going to have a kind of a deep dive workshop environment, or we're going to have a review or something, that requires a lot of dialogue and a lot of debate, discussion. I'm thinking budgets coming up. Those places where the conversation is deeper than just kind of approving a legislative agenda, I think do call out, needing to be in person and needing to kind of see each other's body language, hear each other talk. And I think there's a lot of value and a lot that potentially gets missed in a virtual environment. Not, you can still hear the words and things like that, but the being present at the meeting, I think, depends on a little bit the content of the agenda. So I guess going forward, I'm comfortable, and all my work is Zoom meetings now. So I mean, comfortable, but are we accessible, and are we really able to have good dialogue in this venue versus in person? I think as we look forward, I'm comfortable here, but I would lean toward getting back in the building.
And I guess that's how I feel too. I think that this is working. I was thinking about, and Josh could maybe jump in here, but eventually we're going to have the chicken conversation, and
Exactly what I was thinking.
that could be interesting in this this format. And I don't know. I can go either way too. I just I think in the past our numbers would not cause alarm for, are we going to have room for everybody? And to somebody's point about how do we know what the agenda is going to look like, we don't, but a lot of times it can be monitored by the amount of phone calls the staff gets prior to the meeting and the interest in that kind of a thing too. So I'm not selling anything either way. I'm just, I could go either way. I'm not sure how, Brad, how you want to resolve this, but.
I think I have the understanding of the council to continue in our Zoom meetings, virtual or electronic meetings. And again, as I indicated, we'll just wait to see the turning of the dial of the governor to resurrect or bring the conversation back to the council for further discussion. So.
And again, there's nothing in concrete says we have to go both in July. We could change our mind at any point in time. Would that be correct?
Correct.
All right. Everybody can live with that decision. So move on to the second point, was the park.
The pavilion rentals.
Pavilion rentals.
Yep. Yep. And again, just with the changing or the turning of the dial, council was uncomfortable when the dial was at 10 persons for social gatherings. Now it's 25. My question is, has that moving of the dial persuaded, or has it moved enough to encourage the lifting of the suspension of the rentals? If it hasn't, then I would need the council to take action in cancellation of the 6 that are on the calendar right now for the month of July.
Thoughts?
I'm more open at 25 to allowing them to continue. One question I would have, and I don't know if anybody's ever monitored it, but are our gatherings for these rentals often quite large? Do we have any idea what kind of numbers would a normal rental hold?
We've been monitoring the park usage, and for the most part, it's been everyone has been very cognizant and respectful of the social distancing requirements. Today was a little bit more challenging, being the hottest day on the calendar of the season. There was a lot of activity at Whipple Beach, but for the most part, it's been pretty good.
I think I've been to quite a few gatherings in the pavilions off and on over the years, and most of them are the kind of open house where people come and go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm more than comfortable with easing the restrictions and going along with allowing up to 25.
Mark?
There, I'm unmuted again. So I am in agreement with going with 25. I think we should open it up. You may want to have them sign a new agreement that says they will comply with that. I know we rented in another town, and that's what we had to do, is sign an agreement that limited us to 10 at the time. So
That's a good point.
I agree.
Okay. My personal feeling is that we should try to, within the confines of safety, I think we should do as much as possible to bring back some normalcy, for our people. So I would agree with that too. And that's a good point, Mark, to add that to those forms. We're okay with that? Okay, move on to the third one, was the recreation part of our parks.
Yes, as I indicated, we're looking, or providing a recommendation that we make it official that we cancel the 2020 summer rec program.
From what I heard from staff, it sounds to me like whether we want to cancel it or not, it doesn't sound like there's a capability of actually pulling off what a summer sports season looked like in 2019. If that's the case, I guess I'm at a point now where I hate to see it be canceled, but it doesn't seem like it really could go on the way we're used to doing it. And I would support the idea that if the dial turns and it can be done with that dollar ball concept or something where it's not involving city staff, I would move that direction. It just seems like it's kind of where we're stuck in terms of just the facts on the ground, is what I'm hearing anyway.
Okay, Todd? Mark?
I agree.
Okay. Mark had a thumb up. Yep.
Being that we're taking, this will be an official action, so I'd ask if we can have a motion for this one.
We will. Any comments, Connie, or you?
Oh, it's just a heavy heart. I certainly understand, but I'm hopeful that something can be pulled together short notice with volunteers to have some aspect of giving the kids opportunities.
I see Corey has joined us, and Josh was there also yesterday. And I think my gut feeling was that, yeah, the full force of the program probably can't happen. It's just out of reach. But the minute we're able to do something, I think we were of one mind that to start, like Brad called it, the dollar games or whatever, that we would put that into motion. And I got the impression from Corey, she can yay or nay what I'm going to say, but that they could do that within a short period of time, get it up and running, and we would still be able to salvage some activity for the kids, to be out. And any comments about that, Corey? Or?
Yeah, I share Councilmember Lucio's heavy heart. It hasn't been an easy decision. It's not what any of us wanted for kids in our community this summer. At the same time, as we look at the guidelines, as we, lay out what it would mean budgetarily to continue something, and really, ultimately, it's the prohibition on games that kind of says to me, we just can't do what we've done for the past 10 years for this community. So, but we don't want to walk away. We know that families rely on us to provide some summer activities for their kids, and baseball is a great summer activity. So yeah, that's why we've kind of come up with this dollar ball idea. So that we would be ready. I anticipate we would need about a week's turnaround time. So a week from when that dial turned, we anticipate that we could be out on the fields, getting kids organized and playing baseball, which would be like the greatest sight ever, I think, this summer. And really, I should say that week would just be the time we would want to give the community to get the word out there and to get signed up or prepared in whatever way they might need to. So yeah, we want to do something. So it's with hope that we are proposing to offer this when and if we can.
Thank you. Josh, any words of wisdom?
Not at this time, thanks.
Okay. Back to you, Brad.
Yeah, so if Ken, I'd like a motion so that we can officially take action on the item.
All three of those or one at a time or what?
No, I think the other two were more of a directive
Okay.
in that regard, but this has budgetary considerations, so I would ask for a motion.
Can I just ask a question first? Going back to, we're not going to meet in the building. What about our commissions? What about utilities, planning, zoning? Are we going to piecemeal it and some are, some aren't, or is this an edict for everybody?
It's an all or nothing. The local declaration that was passed in March indicated that all city meetings would be held electronically until the council made the determination that it was no longer necessary for the public health to do so.
Okay. All right, look for a motion, I guess.
Right. I'll move the cancellation of the program. I don't know if it's relevant to the motion itself, but I would include the flexibility to do what we can to support that dollar ball.
Good. Motion by Zach.
Second.
Second by Todd. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Cross,
Yes.
Ullman,
Yes.
Licio,
Yes,
Babbitt,
Yes.
and Olson.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
The other side of business would be is the youth soccer and baseball associations, the use of the facilities. And they are the party that's responsible for meeting the social distancing and hygiene guidelines. Included in your packet is user agreements for those two entities and asking for council to approve them.
And everybody saw those two forms. Any questions about those or comments? Seeing none, we'll look for a motion then to approve them.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Cross,
Second.
second by Talbot, I guess. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Cross,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Licio,
yes,
Babbitt,
Yes.
and Olson.
Yes. Okay, anything else, Brad?
Nope. And then thanks to Corey for being in attendance and being
Yeah.
part of the conversation.
It's a great partnership and it's a big partnership and it's a big responsibility. And so we appreciate everybody's involvement in that. Council comments, Connie?
I think I've been out and about a lot all around Baxter, and the traffic is just showing how happy people from the metro are coming up to our neck of the woods, and that's encouraging. It's fun to see. And again, the attitudes, at least those people that I've encountered, have been just over the moon positive. So I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Good, thank you. Tabit?
I'll just note that I would agree with Connie's statement, and it seems like people are out doing the best they can right now. Also had a re-roof permit I had to pull, and the process went quite well for me. So not having a lot of prior interaction with that end of City Hall, I was happy with it and glad staff was doing their best in this time.
You
Good.
mean they didn't come out and roof it for you?
That would have been nice, huh?
They didn't
I
come
could
out
probably
and-
do that too.
Just tell them not to have Baxter trucks in your yard though.
Right.
Okay, Holman?
I just wanted to share just a quick comment on how amazing it is to see the projects and the construction work that's going on, the energy of people out biking and walking. Some of these trail projects like the Coles Trail that's under construction now, and the trail along Mills Car Wash and Super One, and certainly Cypress Drive. You know, these are pieces of infrastructure that we really, this is the first summer things are really, people are catching on. And it's just encouraging to see people out using those and the paved shoulders. And this summer in particular, I guess I've never noticed a time when they're more significantly connecting to each other. And so it's thrilling to kind of watch the roads, the trails, the paved shoulders, all of those networks related to our transportation come together, and then it lifts up, of course, public health. People get out and move. They feel safe. It is safe. And then people feel empowered to get out and do things, walking, biking, strollers that they maybe didn't before. So it's super rewarding. I think we've all shared this from time to time, but just a hats off to all of our departments and staff. Just a stellar job, ongoing, day in, day out, just a stellar job. And I think the people I bump into say it and appreciate that. And a lot of the city work and services go unsung. Sometimes, you know, we just keep doing our great job, but people really do notice and appreciate it. So hats off to all of our staff, all of our divisions.
Okay, thank you. Cross?
Just, echoing what everyone said already, and just want to thank everyone for their patience.
Yeah.
I think that's what's getting us through this. It's just taking a step back and knowing that these things are being done for the better good. So I just want to thank everyone for being patient. Hang in there. It'll be over.
Thank you. That's very true. I guess just about ditto to everything that's been said, but I do want to, Brad alluded to it just a minute ago, but I wanted to publicly thank Mr. DeBoer. His life really got really got turned upside down in this thing. His evenings no longer exist with all the commissions, and certainly council too. And it's not what he signed on for, but he's so good at what he does, and we just appreciate his dedication and hanging in there with us. He probably not real happy with what he heard tonight because he's going to get extended another month, but just appreciate all that he does and keeps us functioning and working, and along with all the other staff too. City administrators report.
Just one item, Mayor. As council is aware, next week was supposed to be the league's annual meeting, Thursday and Friday of next week. Being that it was canceled, in person was canceled, they did modify it and are having a virtual annual business meeting next Thursday, the 25th, from 1 to 2:30. With that, each member or city within the league is to designate a city delegate that needs to participate and be part of the election of office of the board of directors and the executive officers of the board. And so wanted to have discussion tonight and see if there's anybody who is intending to participate. And if not, ask that the council delegate myself, as I am signed up to do that, or to be in attendance and participate. So was anybody planning to attend?
No, I'm working at the store in Nisswa that day. I think you're the man for the job, Brad.
Okay. Otherwise, I would encourage a council person to do it if you wanted to do it, but if you don't, then it looks like nobody does. So it goes to Brad.
Well, Mayor, were you going to be on that call or?
Well, that's neither here nor there. I don't know yet.
Oh,
So I think that we're of one mind there, so we'll roll with that. Anything else, Brad?
That is all I have, Mayor.
Okay, city attorney's report?
Looking for a motion to go into close to review litigation settlement offer.
Motion.
Motion by Cross,
Second,
second by Alessio. Roll call?
Cross,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Licio,
yes.
Abbott,
Yes.
and Olson.
Yes, and if you are hanging on here, we will be back into open session after that. Okay, have the city attorney make the motion.
Based on the discussion and consensus and closed, looking for a motion to approve the settlement offer.
So moved.
Motion by Cross,
Second,
Second,
second by Cabot. Any further discussion? All in favor, roll call.
Cross,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Licio,
yes.
Tabit,
yes.
Olson.
Yes. Okay, is that the end of it?
That is the end.
We got her all done. Well, thanks everybody for your time and your dedication to this wonderful city. We'll
Need
see
a
you-
motion.
There it is.
Need a motion to adjourn.
Talk to you later.
Need a
Bye.
motion to adjourn. All right. We will consider